As someone that's seen every single episode of Power Rangers, every movie, read every comic book, explored extra media like Hyperforce, collected every toy line, and just pretty much know everything about this franchise that I can, I loved Power Rangers my entire life, pretty much. Like, dating back to when I was like 3 and watching like Power Rangers in Space episodes on a VHS tape. And I love collecting 6-inch action figures. Clearly, there's a lot of them behind me. And that's just kind of my style. So a 6-inch action figure line featuring the Power Rangers should be my favorite line of all time. It's like tailor-made for me. So why is it that I didn't even buy the last 2 waves and feel zero hope of collecting this? Let's talk about Power Rangers Lightning Collection 2022 and explore why I'm feeling defeated. Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to the Power Rangers Lightning Collection 2022 Rundown. Now, the Rundown series, for those that may be unaware, is a series where I take a look at an entire year's worth of a toy line. It started with Marvel Legends, I've done it with Power Rangers pretty much since the line started, and I've been doing it with G.I. Joe Classified since that line started. And the 4th slot has rotated as we try to figure out which one of those is the more popular line. In terms of this year, I talked about G.I. Joe Classified series having a fantastic year where it was hard to pick a top 10 because almost every figure was an absolute winner. Honestly, all of them are really good. Then I talked about Marvel Legends where they released way too many figures and it overwhelmed me and many collectors, especially with a bunch of price differences. And now we're at the point of Power Rangers Lightning Collection where there's 13 figures I didn't get this year. Now, some of these I never did want, but most of these I do for completing the teams in my collection. But because of several issues we're going to talk about, I could not bring myself to spend full price on these figures because I had other things to get. I was trying to complete my G.I. Joe Classified stuff. I was working on completing my Transformers Legacy stuff because Transformers tend to sort of evaporate and their aftermarket price goes up. We'll talk about that in the Transformers Legacy rundown that's forthcoming. But in terms of Power Rangers, I knew this video was coming. I had time, but honestly, I was out of money. There was just so many toys that came out over the last few months, and it's been overwhelming. And the thing was that I was like going through and I was like, what can I sacrifice? You know, if I want to get this, I have to get rid of this. And so I went through and Lightning Collection was actually the first thing I cut. And I don't feel good about that because I've been supportive of the line. I want to see it improve. It's clear that I've done a lot of videos on this channel, but there's several things that are holding this line back from me wanting to just go full force and buy everything at full price. And at this point, you know, if the line does decline in sales because I'm not buying it at full price, I'm not going to complain if it slows down because I can't bring myself to buy a lot of these figures at full price, knowing the issues we're going to discuss. And let's discuss them because there was quite a lot of them. First things first, there was 41 figures released this year, of which I picked up 28. Now that is a pretty good margin, but there was also a problem of there was very few retail releases this year. So for example, we had 2 retail waves, Wave 11 and Wave 12, 2 deluxe waves, a Deluxe Wave 1 and Deluxe Wave 2, plus a strangling monster that was left behind from last year. And that was it. Like, the rest of the year was released online. So we had, let's see, 8, 12, 13 retail figures, and then the rest of that 41 was exclusive to Target, a lot of Target, and some of the other stores. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it was a weird situation where we had a lot of releases, but a lot of them were exclusive, and that kind of just sort of throws off the balance of the line. So let's talk about what happened this year specifically. So like I said, we only had those 4 retail waves that really came out this year. And then we also had absolutely zero news for most of the year. There was a fan first event early in the year, which was following right behind a Transformers stream. The Transformers stream was over an hour. The Power Rangers one was 13 minutes, where they showed off some figures like Ninja Rangers of red, yellow, and the Catherine version of pink, and then just kind of messed around with a piñata and played with a sword for a bit, and that was it. And that was after months of not having any news. We got barely anything, and it was really bad. It rushed through everything that was there. The presentation was pretty awful, and the fandom was pretty upset that they hyped up this stream and even sort of made fun at fans on Twitter who were asking for news. and then just pumped out a 13-minute thing that ultimately resulted in nothing because all the figures we saw were ones that had leaked anyways. So that was a disaster. And then the disaster after that was we didn't get any news from the line between then and another stream that was in August. And I hope that that was the time that Hasbro took their Power Rangers team and looked at the disastrous result of that stream earlier in the year and said, we need to do something different. And the August stream was pretty good. In between them, we had a couple tweets that sort of teased revealed figures, but we're not really going to worry about those specifics here. The problem was that there was so many months without news, so many things leaked, so many things came out without any official announcement, and it was just kind of a giant mess. This is not really how you market a brand, by going completely radio silent like it's a Nickelodeon hiatus when they were airing the show. We also saw the debut of the plastic-free packaging, which is an initiative that Hasbro's doing for all their toy lines. I have a whole video on it. Please check it out. It's a good one, I think, at looking at the overall ups and downs of plastic-free packaging. The problem with Power Rangers is that since the plastic-free packaging debuted, quality control issues have increased beyond what was in the plastic-based packaging, which already had issues, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the issue I noticed is that a lot of sword weapons are being just tossed in bags and tossed in a box, and a lot of them are coming out bent and warped as opposed to being straight pieces, and that is really a bummer because you want the accessories to come out nice, and that was the nice part about the plastic trays, is for the most part it kept sword weapons straight. And so if you're going to put it in plastic-free packaging, they need to do it like G.I. Joe, where they wrapped the swords in cardboard before putting them in the bags. There was also the debacle of the In-Space Silver Ranger figure. So for those that may not remember last year's rundown, which is available, of course, on the channel with the others, the In-Space Silver Ranger, released through Hasbro Pulse only to premium members, sold out during premium time 3 times, and was never available to the general public. And then, several months later, Walgreens put up the Dino Thunder Silver Ranger. Okay, ignoring the fact it got the wrong team name, you could order In-Space Silver from Walgreens' website for a little bit of period of time. That's where I finally got mine. The funny part is that Hasbro still hadn't officially announced the figure until its 10/27 stream, which was supposed to be for premium members only, and guess what? They showed off a new In-Space Silver with his bike 1 year from the previous release going up for sale out of nowhere, where it was just him. And it's basically the same figure with the bike included. So if you didn't get the Walgreens one, just wait for that bike one. It's a little bit better, and hopefully the QC is good on it. But the other thing is that because the actor that played In-Space Silver, Zane, Justin Nimmo, he actually revealed by showing the previous Walgreens one in his reveal video of the one with the bike. That's technically our announcement. Why do figures slip through the cracks like this? This happens with a lot of the Hasbro brands, and I'm like, are you putting out too much that you can't announce everything? Because that's a sign you're putting out too much. And then lastly, on the history section of this, the red Tyranno Sentry, which was a long-awaited release in the US, it came out in the UK, finally shipped this year. Honestly, I'm pretty convinced that the red Tyranno Sentry and maybe the Walgreens part of the shipment for In-Space Silver just got lost at sea, and then it finally showed up. Anyways, that all resolved, and now we're sort of back on a track where things are getting revealed, put up for pre-order, and it's not like a year or more out like the red Tyranno Sentry. All right, let's talk with QC problems and issues with the line as a whole. This is year 4 of the Lightning Collection. You think things would be getting better, unfortunately they're not. The issues that have plagued the line since the beginning are still here. Inconsistent accessory loadouts for Rangers, inconsistent paint details between Rangers, mediocre likenesses, though they are starting to get better, they're still not that great, and slow team completion. We are still waiting for SPD to be finished. SPD Yellow has been teased by Hasbro as coming in 2023, but the first wave of 2023 doesn't have her, so I guess we'll be waiting a little bit longer. The problem I have with the slow team completion is that the more spaced out they get, the more inconsistent issues they have, because we have examples this year with the Ninja Rangers and the Ninja Turtle Rangers that when they put teams out back to back, they actually have consistent accessories and paint details. So hopefully in the future we can start getting teams kind of like back to back as opposed to spreading them out over several years. Now the actual paint problem still persists because QC on a massive retail line like Power Rangers from Hasbro, it's being produced in tens of thousands of units, there's going to be QC problems with paint. Now the problem I'm noticing is that we shifted from having paint errors to more problems with the physical product. And now some of these examples are going to be broad and actually reach across a whole different thing. And some of these are very specific, but are very concerning that they happen more than once. If there's a one-off QC assembly problem, I'm not really going to mention it much here, but we're talking about things that were rampant across multiple copies of the figures. First of all, the In-Space Blue with Galaxy Glider set. Originally, it was shown with having the incorrect X design on the Galaxy Glider. We were told by Hasbro it would be corrected to the proper In-Space logo with the more envelope design, and that was done after a batch of them with the X came out. And in fact, a lot of people finding this at retail found the X one more than the actual correct symbol version. And this is a problem because, well, why did that get all the way to production before someone caught it? This is an issue that's sort of come up with a lot of toy companies lately, especially with the way the pandemic has affected the world in communication. But this is really bad that they, seemingly caught it, but caught it after a bunch of them had already been produced wrong. And that's an actual tooling mistake. That's not like a paint error. That means a mold was cast with that X logo engraved into it. That is bad. That means it went through too many steps before being caught. Now let's talk about the Lunar Wolf Ranger figure. When originally shipped, he had white boots and 5 stripes, when he should have 6 stripes and silver boots. And there's issues with the figure that affect all of it from design, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the figure. But this was an issue where some batches had 5 stripes white boots, some had 6 stripes white boots, some had 6 stripes silver boots, and then there was also the packaging variant at Walmart that also featured the 2 different versions with the white boots and the silver boots. The question I have always had with this line is, why do they think white and silver is the same color? And it sort of came to a head with the Lunar Wolf Ranger because, well, his boots should be silver, and instead sometimes they were white on some production copies. Now that is not a tooling issue, that is a production issue. It's something that they saw the factory start to pump out, probably said pause on it, and then went and got it fixed. I'm glad it got it fixed, but I'm not exactly sure what percentage is the correct 6-stripe silver boot version and which percentage is the 5-stripe white boot version. In addition to that fact, that figure has a lot of issues we'll talk about with the figure. Now, another issue that came up this year, it started late last year, was the Ninja Rangers. When they released in UK, several of them were missing heads, some were missing hands, some had duplicate hands, some had duplicate heads. What the hell is going on when your line is having problems if you can't get the pack out consistent? That should be the baseline. At least it comes with everything, even if the paint's sloppy or whatever. But the fact that there were so many cases of this, whether some of them are fake or not, there is a lot of legitimate cases of people missing parts out of their figures when they got them directly from retail and the packaging wasn't tampered with. That is a massive, massive issue. Now, luckily, that subsided by the time the Ninja Rangers were sent to retail in the US, but for a lot of UK fans, they had to go through a whole returns process to get their replacement parts. Why? Because somebody wasn't paying attention at the factory. Especially since these were not in plastic-free packaging, there's really no excuse to be missing that many figures that have stuff that are missing out of the trays. That means nobody was looking at it. Now, this is probably due to a factory switch. Power Rangers figures are now being produced in Vietnam as opposed to China. That may also be because of the pandemic, trying to get around the way that the China restrictions have been. Adding to that, there is now job postings for QC management teams over in Vietnam that Hasbro's put up, and maybe this is an issue that will be fixed in the future when a position like that is filled, because it certainly doesn't seem like that position had a person in it when these figures went through production. Adding to that, we had some weird ones. First of all, there were 3 different instances of a Lost Galaxy Green having the Mighty Morphin black boots. One had one Lost Galaxy Green boot, one had one Mighty Morphin boot, and then the other one had a Mighty Morphin boot and a Lost Galaxy Green boot, and they were actually the opposites of each other, so it seemed like a part swap. And then there was another case I found where it had 2 Mighty Morphin black boots on a Lost Galaxy Green boot. These are part of the same way, so it seems like a part mix-up, but once again, it's a weird QC thing. I don't know how widespread it is beyond that. There also was an instance of the Street Fighter Ryu figure having a leg detached, and this is an issue that's come up with plastic-free packaging for not only this line, but others. Until this happened, I kind of forgot that the Blue Ninja from the G.I. Joe line had a detached arm on mine. And it just seems like without the tray to hold it together, maybe some of these parts aren't getting fully clicked into place before they're put into their cardboard trays. By far, the absolute worst release of the year is the Time Force Blue and Vector Cycle set. Design-wise, I think this was a great idea. Do the Time Force Rangers again, put them on inset pin bodies so you don't have the pins visible, and they now come with the Vector Cycles. Would be a great way to redo red in this style. However, the quality control on Time Force Blue was an absolute frickin' disaster, because every single copy I saw was bad. Every one of them, whether it was loose joints, whether it was bad paint, or in some worse cases, detached legs, which happen on 5 to 10 different people. Missing parts, duplicate hands, one guy's Time Force Blue wasn't even glued. How does something like that even happen? And then adding to that, it's in plastic-free packaging, so you don't even know before you buy it. If you're looking at it in a store, you can't look and say, oh, let me grab the one that has all the parts. Because like with the Lunar Wolf Ranger, I didn't buy it again until I could see it. But the thing is, you could see it in the bubble. You can see, oh yeah, that one has the silver boots. I should get that corrected one. Whereas Time Force Blue, you can't see it until you open it. And then you can find out that it has a myriad of problems because this is incredibly widespread. And so the thing is, regardless if you're buying it online or not, when the plastic-free packaging does not have a window, the factories can't QC check these as much because they have to check them before they go into the box. So yeah, kind of a giant frickin' disaster. Probably the worst release the line has ever seen, and I want them to go completely back on the drawing board on this before they do another Time Force Ranger. Now, I could also say that this is something I hope improves with the 2023 figures. But early releases of Dino Fury Green, which is a 2023 figure, from Big Bad Toy Store, people had issues such as one person had duplicate Ranger heads and no civilian head. One person had the arms backwards. I hope that's not widespread and it's just a couple copies. But if the plastic-free packaging era of the Lightning Collection is going to keep having issues where parts are not properly aligned and there's duplicate issues and all this, then I don't know what to say besides fix your stuff, Hasbro. This is ridiculous. And then adding on a personal note, I actually had a breakage on a figure this year, which was my April O'Neil Pink Ranger, where there was excess plastic in her knee joint, and I went and bent it, and it completely broke the actual connection in the middle, and her leg came completely off the pin. I was able to fix it, but still, it's a problem, and it's not the only time a Lightning Collection figure is broken for me, as my In-Space Andros had too tight of a ball socket, and his neck peg snapped right off. So Lightning Collection, this is why I don't want to pay full price for figures. Do I want to buy a Lost Galaxy Green online and get the chance that he's going to have MMPR black boots on him? No, I'd rather buy him in a store, except my stores aren't stocking him anymore because this line's been selling like trash for the last year. So I don't know what to do. I don't know where to buy stuff, to where to get the best QC. I want to order from places like Big Bad Toy Store, but then they charge a little bit more. So yeah, better customer service, but I don't have as much money to just always buy the figures at an upcharge. But I'd like to, it's just I don't have the funding to do so, and I'd have to sacrifice other toy lines that actually make me happy when I get figures, as opposed to, okay, well, here's Dino Thunder Yellow, and oh, she doesn't have her saber, which means she can't pose with the other two if they have their sabers, and it's just things like this. It's just worn me down, and we're now entering year 5 of this line, and the same problems keep coming up over and over again, and even though it's a leak, Lost Galaxy Yellow doesn't come with her Quasar Saber, it seems, and that's just mind-boggling, because every other Lost Galaxy Ranger had a way to get the full-size Quasar Saber, except for Yellow, who's the last one to make. So at this point, what am I going to do about Power Rangers Lightning Collection in the future, and how will the 2023 video be next year when we talk about it? I have no idea. This is what I have right now. I'm going to talk about the best parts and worst parts about these figures, because there's a lot of good ones this year. At the end of the day, all I can say with Lightning Collection is it continues to be a bunch of half-assed Power Rangers figures and a lot of really great monster figures. And I wish everything could be great, but that's just not what we're dealing with anymore. We're starting off with Wave 11 of the Lightning Collection. The first figure we're looking at is the Zeo Cog. This is a single-release Cog that is different than the one from the 2-pack. He still comes with the same accessories such as the long pike staff, as well as the short staff and the alternate head with the goggles open. Interestingly, he does come with the power tonfas for the Zeo Blue Ranger, who was missing them before, completing the Zeo team's main personal weapons. And he is different than the silver from the 2-pack, so you get 3 different variants of the Cog. Weird to include a Ranger's weapons with an army builder, because that means more of those weapons will be out there, but hopefully that means if you don't want a Cog, you can find the power tonfas. Next up, the Lunar Wolf Ranger, which we've already talked about a bit. The first one I got from Amazon was the incorrect 5 stripes, as well as white boots version. I was later able to get a correct version, quote unquote, with the 6 stripes and the silver boots, and the figure still got some issues. One of those is not the extra head sculpt. I think the Merrick unhelmeted head looks pretty good and matches the actor fairly well. And he does, of course, come with the Lunar Q in both its sword form, as well as a clawed hand that is iconic to Wild Force, and he comes with the blaster/rifle form of the Lunar Q. Unfortunately, the holster for the Lunar Q that appeared in all show versions of this suit is not here. The only times that there is no holster on the Lunar Wolf Ranger was at the Disney parks when the Power Rangers used to be there, and the Legacy Wars animation model, and neither of these should be the first reference for this character. And a bigger issue I saw nobody talk about is that the blue is missing from the side of his torso, connecting the torso to the legs, even though it's on the opposite side. This side just doesn't have it. Also, I do wish this guy got to come out during the inset pin era, so that way we wouldn't have blue pins poking through silver, but that's a nitpick at most. Next up, we have the Dino Charged Pink Ranger, who is on a completely new body mold from any of the previous female Power Rangers figures. The Shelby portrait is honestly pretty good. I think it captures the likeness of the actor. It's not perfect, but it's pretty much one of the better ones. And she does include the Morpher Blaster that all the other Dino Charged Rangers include. Unfortunately, unlike the Dino Charged Rangers that came before, she doesn't have the sword, and instead they gave her her drill, which normally in the show would be accompanied with an arm full of armor, so I don't really ever see myself using this, and none of the other Rangers have it, so she doesn't quite match. Next up, we have Dino Fury Red Ranger, who honestly turned out pretty okay. The Zato head sculpt turned out pretty good, and the chest detail looks a little off just because of the Lightning Collection sort of torso, and the helmet seems a little small. But otherwise, he looks nice with his Chroma Fury Saber. Unfortunately, the Chroma Fury Saber is the only weapon he comes with. He comes with a reused effect part for that Chroma Fury Saber, but no Dino Dagger or any of the other kind of weapons that they could have thrown in, and that's kind of a bummer. Moving over to Wave 12. First up, there is a Mighty Morphin Black Ranger, same mold as before, this time with a corrected belt buckle, and includes an atom head plus an extinguisher weapon that only Zach used. Total easy pass for me, and should be an easy pass for anyone that's going to wait for the updated, remastered Black Ranger that's likely coming. I almost did pick up Lost Galaxy Green because Lost Galaxy is my favorite team, and it's nice that Damon does come with the Trans Dagger as well as the extended Quasar Saber to match blue and pink, but then red and yellow don't match in their single releases, so it's all a mess. The Wild Force Blue Ranger was the second Wild Force Ranger in a row, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, his holster's not accurate for the Crystal Saber, but overall seems like a fine figure otherwise. And then we had the Dino Thunder Yellow Ranger completing the core team of Dino Thunder, and she turned out pretty good, it seems. New body mold, double jointed elbows, all the good stuff, and honestly the only problem with her is she doesn't come with the saber form of the Triceramax Blaster. Monsters Wave 3 was the last Monsters release on its own. The only monster here was Guy, but he's a really cool one. Really tricky design to do because of all those extra painted details. Adding to that, they have a closing eye on his face, which is just really, really awesome. Plus, he comes with his single eye form on a stand with effect parts around it that just looks really amazing. There is an ocular blast effect that can go into the single eye, or it can go into the largest eye on Guy himself. So while he shares the same problem with the other monsters of being too large to be screen accurate, I do really love this Guy figure, and it's honestly really, really cool. Next, we have the first wave of the new Deluxe lineup, which is sort of combining the Versus packs and the monsters into one line. Speaking of monsters, the first one is Pirantis Head, who looks stunning. He's got all the paint details and all the sculpted details. It looks really, really good. His mouth does open, but in fact, the top part of his head is on a ball joint, which means you can actually pose him around a little bit and give him some different expressions besides just open and closed. He comes with his fish nunchucks, which look pretty good and are well rendered. And he also gets an effect part thrown on it, which is reused from In Space Black. Honestly, Piranha's Head turned out pretty great. The other deluxe release in Deluxe Wave 1 was In Space Blue with the Galaxy Glider, which we talked about already having the problem with the symbol. The other problem I have with it is I already have In Space Blue, and I don't know if we're getting the other Galaxy Gliders. We haven't heard anything about that, and I don't really want to buy the whole In Space team again just for Galaxy Gliders. Moving on to Deluxe Wave 2. First of all, we have Snizzard. I think Snizzard turned out great. He looks really cool. It's just going to be one of those figures I'll pick up eventually, but I'm not rushing to get right away, again, because of budget concerns. And then we have Time Force Blue. On top of all the QC problems with this set, there also is the problem of the chest being painted wrong. As you can see in this comparison image, it should be a straight angle on the white parts of the details of the chest, and instead it's curved for no reason. Really strange stuff, just an absolute disaster of release in my eyes. Let's get into this year's exclusives with the Amazon exclusives. Starting up, we have Ecliptor from Power Rangers in Space, a highly requested villain that turned out very, very nice as an action figure. He, of course, comes with his sword, and you can just see how many great details are on this guy. I just really love the design. He also comes with electric finger hands, which is very iconic to In Space, as that was a very common trope of the villains there. He also comes with some random green lightning that I don't understand the purpose of, and another effect for his sword that's got kind of a spiral look. This guy turned out really great, and there are other forms of Ecliptor that we could get, so it's nice to see that we got this one as a good basis. Ecliptor came in a 2-pack with a new Astronema, this time with purple hair and a redone torso design. She of course comes with the staff and the boomerang that the previous Astronema release came with, and she comes with extra lightning that looks a little bit too big for that staff. As you can see when you put her side by side to the Astronema that came with Andros, you can see that both figures are quite different. While the arms and the legs are the same, the torso has been resculpted to add the actual sculpted detail to it, where it was painted on the previous one, and then of course we have the purple hair versus the blue hair, and the necklace is now a separate piece. Overall, scale-wise, Astronema looks too small, and Ecliptor is a little bit too big next to her, but Ecliptor is about the size right for the Rangers, so it kind of works out in the middle. The other Amazon exclusive was a single release of Finster, who is one of the more detailed figures of the line. What's really cool is the tools that hang in his apron can actually be removed, and his jaw articulates on top of his glasses being separate pieces and just a lot of insanely sculpted and painted details. So while he did run for a higher price, I think he was worth it, especially because he comes with the monster making case, which opens up and you can remove 2 clay molds for the putty patrollers. I think it's just such an insanely tiny little detail that's really, really well done. Plus, Finster goes great with Rita, Goldar, and Scorpina from the Season 1 Moon Crew, so where's Squat and Babu? They're the only 2 left of that original villain lineup. Next up we have the fan channel exclusives sold to online retailers and specialty shops. The first one is Donatello as the Black Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. He does come with an unmasked head, which was pretty surprising for collaborative figures to include this, but very, very nice to have as an inclusion. Then he also comes with a bow staff that's modeled after the Power Axe. Really cool design with a unique blast effect on the end. And then you also get a regular version of the Power Axe. Donatello was sold in a 2-pack with Leonardo as the Blue Ranger, and he also looks really great. Even though all the turtles use the same mold, they have uniqueness to them. He also comes with an unmasked head, of course, which is Leonardo, more stern and serious to the character. And he comes with his twin katanas that are modeled after the Power Lance. And much like the Power Lance, they can be combined. And there is an effect part added to the end, though be careful of paint scraping. The next 2-pack starts off with April O'Neil as the Pink Ranger, which is basically the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger without the skirt, so it does have a unique look to it. April comes with an unmasked head, a microphone, and a camera to represent her reporting job, which is really cool. And of course she comes with the power bow and the arrow, which is the same as Kimberly's or Kat's because that's just how the comic was done. Her 2-pack buddy is Michelangelo as the Yellow Ranger, and he turned out pretty good, even though I wish the power daggers / nunchucks fit in the holster better. And his unmasked head is delightful. It's Michelangelo, he's the party guy, and he's got that party look to him. The nunchuck daggers are also pretty cool, and the effect part to have them swooshing is pretty neat. The third 3-pack starts with Raphael as the Red Ranger, looking very striking, especially with the contrast of the gold to the red. He of course comes with an unmasked head, which has a very snarling, angry Raph, which fits the whole personality of the character. And then he also comes with his twin Sais modeled after the Power Sword, and you can see that one of them's got some paint rub going. And that's because of the cool swinging effect, which again unfortunately rubs the silver paint off of the blade. What's really awesome is you can combine all the weapons thanks to that extra included Power Axe, so you can have the version of the Power Blaster for the Turtle Rangers. Now Raph's pack-in partner is not another Ranger, but is a foot soldier that is also Tommy. But what's cool is you do get a standard sword, as well as a lightning effect that rubs the paint off the sword, and a fist punch effect. You also get an unmasked Tommy head, which is a reuse of the Green Ranger Tommy head, and you get an extra mask piece so you can have a half mask, and this is my preferred look for the figure. To go with the Turtle 2-packs, we had a single release of Morph Shredder as the Green Ranger. Unfortunately, this figure suffers from a common Hasbro problem that the ankles cannot be flat. They're either too far forward or too far back. Other than that, he's a really cool figure, and he actually stands taller than the average Ranger because of the bulkier size of the Shredder. He doesn't come with many accessories, but he does have 2 fists and 2 open hands for different martial arts poses, as well as claw effects that kind of remind me of Wolverine from the X-Men animated series opening. And he makes a nice pairing with the Foot Soldier. And honestly, Shredder turned out pretty great, especially with that cloth cape draping over him. Breaking up the fan channel being collaborative, here is Red Ecliptor from a single episode of Power Rangers in Space. Such a random pick for a figure, but a welcome one. And honestly, he does look pretty cool, especially with the contrast of the silver to the red. He also does come with the sword, as well as the lightning effect, which the irregular Ecliptor came with. And as you can see, they actually did sculpt some new parts for this Ecliptor. He's not a complete repaint of the original Ecliptor, and that is really cool, especially with the swords being different designs. The last 2 fan channel releases were from Power Rangers Legacy Wars / Battle for the Grid, and we have the Crimson Hawk Ranger, which is Ryu from Street Fighter as a Power Ranger. He He looked pretty good, and I do want to pick him up at some point. I just ran out of money, and he was like $30. Pretty much the same story for the Blazing Phoenix Ranger, which is the morphed version of Chun-Li. Also looks pretty good. Now these two will be followed up with 2 more designs, but those are original to the Hasbro figure release and weren't part of the original Legacy Wars or Battle for the Grid games. Next, we're moving on to a surprising amount of GameStop exclusives. First up is the Cat 2-pack with the Zeo Ranger 1 pink figure. This one comes with a new head sculpt for Cat and a ponytail, which doesn't look quite right for some reason. But she does come with the sidearms of the blaster and the sword, but no collapsed sword like the other Zeo Rangers. And she comes with her shield, which can be clipped to her arm and have a blast effect like she's deflecting something, or she can hold it out in front of her as more common to this character. And yeah, I don't like the clip system, and let me talk about it.
So I don't care what anyone else says, this is the actual worst accessory in the entire Lightning collection because I don't understand this. What? Okay, so we have the shield for Zeo Pink. This is so it can clip on her arm, which she doesn't do that much in the show, and then she has to hold onto this. It is the flimsiest piece of plastic. As you can see, this part has already stretched before I even had it. So it just kind of wobbles around, it pops off really easy. You can see the stress mark from me clipping it to her arm, and I mostly just wanted to have her hold it out in front instead of a normal handle. They gave us this. And the thing is I hate this design because I've already gone through this with Marvel Legends. Here's US Agent, who's a repaint of Captain America, essentially. Now, he has a purpose to using this style clip. So you see, he has a wrist clip, so that way he can wear it on his arm, right? And then you can flip it to this peg, so you can peg it onto the back, like Captain America, US Agent, and all the others. You know, they have them stored on the back as well. She doesn't have that. And the thing is that I never go into like a Captain America figure looking to have him posed with it down like this and him holding it out, because he never does that. So why the heck do we have this same dumb, I don't like it on here either, this same dumb clip system has a purpose there. It has no purpose here besides making life difficult for no reason. I hate that thing.
The Zeo Pink was packed with the Mighty Morphin Pink that comes with a new cat head, but otherwise is basically the same figure. Also a neat bonus is an included cat form of Cat. This is a weird 2-pack because, well, Mighty Morphin Pink was something that people wanted, and Zeo Pink was something that people also wanted, and I didn't really like the fact that I had to buy another Mighty Morphin Pink, but at least it makes sense as like, here's all the versions of one character. There also was this cell-shaded Pink Ranger that was advertised like a comic variant, and that was an easy pass for me. GameStop also had a 2-pack of the color swap versions of Trini and Jason from Go-Go Power Rangers, the comic book. This one is Trini as the Red Ranger, where the helmet looks too big because they didn't reshape the helmet design, but it is an updated sculpt using the metallic red as a basis. And then the male Yellow Ranger, which is Jason as the Yellow Ranger from that same storyline, has a head that looks too tiny because they sculpted that head for a different size body. Other than that, they seem fine, though apparently the Yellow Ranger has a lot of QC problems with loose joints. From Hasbro Pulse, we finally have the last metallic Ranger with the metallic White Ranger. He leaked prior to being put up on the website, and he just went straight in stock, which, you know what, I can live with that. He comes with a completed Zeo Crystal, where the others came with the individual components. He also includes the unmasked Tommy head, which is a new head that looks more like comic book Tommy than the actual show version. And overall, this guy mostly just needs to punch things, and he works for me. It's a great way to complete the metallic Rangers. Also, as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive this year was the Pudgy Pig in the lunchbox that should have been last year, but just took forever to ship because of shipping delays. One of the largest categories of the year, the Target exclusives. First of all, we had that red Tyranno Sentry that finally shipped to the US, and I can finally cover it here. It looks like a cool figure overall. I do like the unique design here. His staff weapon to his cape to the mouthless visor, pretty cool stuff. But it just took so long for this figure to come out, I almost forgot it happened. And yeah, there's a little bit of a lightning effect. It's a neat figure, and I did get 2 of them so I can flank my Lord Draken, and I don't know when we'll get the other Sentries, but hopefully they don't take almost 2 years to arrive. The rest of the Target exclusives was the 7 releases for the Ninja Rangers from Season 3 and the movie. These are very similar, so apologies if I go through them kind of quickly, but these are actually pretty good. The only downside was they were $26.49 a piece, but considering they're not missing anything, I'm going to let that slide this time. First up, we have Kimberly as the Pink Ninja Ranger. She introduces the female ninja body mold to the line, and actually turned out pretty good. All the Ninja Rangers include 3 different heads. We have the fully masked head, the half-masked head that matches the movie, and then the unmasked head that matches the movie and the show. I like having the different options. She also comes with a kicking effect that goes on the bottom of her foot, which just looks really weird and kind of awkward, but the fact I was able to get these figures to pose on 1 foot is impressive. The next one was Tommy as the White Ninja Ranger, which is probably the one that had the most QC problems between paint and missing parts and duplicated things. It was a bit of a disaster. For example, mine came with an extra left karate chop hand for some reason. It was just rattling around in the box. Tommy, of course, comes with the fully masked version from Season 3, the half-masked version from the movie, and the unmasked version from Season 3 and the movie. And he comes with a kicking effect that works a little bit better than Kimberly's, and again, they can actually stand on 1 foot. The articulation is impressive. Next up we have Billy as the Blue Ninja Ranger, which was actually the first one revealed, and he has actually turned out pretty good overall, I think. He of course has 3 different heads, the fully masked from Season 3, the half masked from the movie, even though there's some blue paint slop over his eyebrow, and the unmasked from Season 3 in the movie. Once again, blue paint slop everywhere. He comes with a punching effect that doesn't quite fit over the hand he includes, so it's a little weird, but honestly he turned out pretty good. Next up we have Adam as the Black Ninja Ranger, which not too much else to say that we haven't covered already, but I do gotta say the articulation on these guys is impressive because they do feel really tight. Of course, Adam comes with 3 different heads, the fully masked from Season 3, the half-masked from the movie, and the unmasked from Season 3 and the movie. He also comes with a karate chop effect, which is the least impressive of these effects. Coming much later than the others, we got the rest of the ninjas in the back half of the year, starting with Rocky as the Red Ninja Ranger. Rocky includes the 3 different heads, the fully masked from Season 3, the half-masked from the movie, and the unmasked from Season 3 in the movie, which is the best Rocky head sculpt we've gotten so far. And then he also includes the punching effect that came with Billy, so nothing too exciting, but he does have unique posing hands. Next up we have Aisha as the Yellow Ninja Ranger, reusing the same body as Kimberly, but turning out pretty good as well. Aisha comes with the fully masked from Season 3, the half-masked from the movie, and the unmasked from Season 3 in the movie. What's also nice is the unmasked head got the proper hair length on Aisha, getting the braids all the way down her back, which is really, really cool. She comes with the same karate chop effect that Adam came with, which means not the most dynamic, but not the most intrusive either. The final Ninja Ranger is Kat as the Pink Ninja Ranger, because I don't think they could put 6 heads in with Kimberly. Kat comes with the fully masked version from Season 3, with blue eyes to distinguish from Kimberly, the half-masked as seen in the Marvel comic, and the unmasked from Season 3. She also comes with the same kicking effect as Kimberly. But that wraps out the Ninja Rangers, which are honestly pretty good. Our final exclusive for Walgreens, the fabled In-Space Silver Ranger. Such a journey to get this figure, and he is really, really good. The Zane head has the personality of the character and looks proper. The paint details on the body all match up to what they should be. He has the Super Silverizer in blaster mode, even with the cuff down the arm, which is a detail that sometimes gets missed. He also comes with it in sword mode, again with the cuff, with the blade, the proper color. Just, wow, one of the best figures, and they didn't even bother to announce it. And he does come with a spiral effect to go on the saber. Zane is one of the best figures, but at this point it's better waiting for the bike version than paying the aftermarket on the Walgreens one. But he makes a nice final figure to cover in this year's rundown. Alright, let's do my top 10 of the year. Number 10, the Dino Charge Pink Ranger for introducing new articulation to the female Rangers. Number 9, Metallic White for including everything he needed, plus a little bit more, and finishing off a team. Number 8, Zane, the In-Space Silver Ranger for finally getting into my collection because he's actually really good. Number 7, Shredder, because outside the ankle problems, this is a really cool striking design. Number 6, Piranha's Head. Just an awesome, awesome monster design that only the scale is the wrong part. Number 5, Eye Guy. He just looks cooler than Piranha's Head. That's why he gets 1 spot up. Number 4, Finster. Insanely detailed, incredible recreation of a costume, and just really cool accessories. Number 3, the Ninja Rangers. How do I pick one over the other? They're pretty much all the same. They're all really solid and one of the best ninja teams. Number 2, the Turtle Rangers. Best quality control so far, articulation improvements across the board. Why are these the best Ranger figures we got? I don't know, but I appreciate them. And number 1, Ecliptor. A figure I wanted for a long time. He's not horribly oversized, and they got all his details correct. It's now time for the annual team check-in.
It's Morphin time. Tyrannosaurus.
Mighty Morphin is complete and has been complete for a while. The Mighty Morphin Ninja/Ninjetti Rangers are complete in the year they started. With the arrival of Metallic White, the Metallic Armor Mighty Morphin Rangers are now complete.
Zeo Ranger 5, Red.
Zeo Ranger 1 Pink completes the Zeo team.
Shift into Turbo.
The poor Phantom Ranger is still the lone Turbo release, though there is one coming in the future.
Let's rock it.
The In-Space team is now officially complete with the arrival of In-Space Silver. The Psycho Rangers have been complete as of last year.
Go, Galactic.
The Lost Galaxy Ranger is getting closer to completion and will be completed in 2023.
Time for Time Force.
Time Force Blue and Red are honestly both disasters.
Wild Access. Ha!
The Wild Force team got started this year, and who knows when the next one will be. Dino Thunder, power up, ha! Dino Thunder has one figure remaining, which will be coming in 2023. SPD, emergency! For SPD, we're still waiting on Yellow to finish the main team, and she is coming in 2023. The A-Squad Rangers have been complete since last year. Energize! Unleash the power! The Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge team is nearly complete for its base team, with Blue coming in the next wave, but no word on the other four yet. Technically, the Street Fighter Legacy Wars team is complete, as the two designs from that game and from Battle for the Grid have appeared in the line. Activate Beast Power! Beast Morphers hasn't had any movement for a while, but Beast Morphers Yellow is coming in 2023. Hopefully Silver and Roxy are on the way too. It's Morphin time! Tyrannosaurus! The Turtle Rangers from the first miniseries are complete, and hopefully the ones from the second miniseries will be forthcoming. Link to Morphing Grid! And Dino Fury got its start with its first Ranger. In 2023, we're going to be seeing the Alien Rangers / the Aquitar Rangers join the lineup. In terms of teams that have zero representation of the line, for the main series, we have Lightspeed Rescue, Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, RPM, Samurai, Megaforce, and Ninja Steel. Additional material for Power Rangers, including the 2017 movie and Hyperforce, haven't been touched, and the forthcoming Cosmic Fury, of course, has no figures yet. And I also wonder if there'll be some surprises in Power Rangers Once and Always that will warrant Lightning Collection figures in the future. So that does it for my Lightning Collection 2022 rundown. I hope it wasn't too depressing. I try to keep it fun and light on this channel, but this line has just exhausted me. I have been trying to figure out, like, oh, why is this problem happening? Why is that problem happening? And at some point, I just gotta throw my arms up and go, I don't know anymore. I can analyze this all I want, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Hasbro, but I really hope they get it together. Power Rangers is celebrating 30 years in 2023, and the Lightning Collection should have its best year ever because they have a huge marketing push going for it. The Mighty Morphin Special, Cosmic Fury, all this comic stuff. There is so much Power Rangers material to work with, to push the line to be better. And I'm sitting here wondering if I should cancel my Blue Centurion pre-order, because what if he comes out and he's got missing parts and duplicate issues and has assembly problems, or his paint's all bad? I don't know. I'm excited about some figures, but until they actually come out, I can't get excited about them because of the constant quality control problems. It's not that every figure has bad QC, it's that most of them do, and so it doesn't make me excited and eager to give money to the company. And that's where we stand at the moment. I am not dropping Lightning Collection by any means, and I'll still make a Lightning Collection rundown next year, even if I buy no more figures. So be sure to stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts on the Lightning Collection as a whole and what I covered in this video. Also be sure to check me out on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Soundout12, and you can find me Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern live here on this YouTube channel. Also be sure to check out people that helped out with this video, including Josh at Living Ranger Key on Twitter and Toku Topics on YouTube, Zeltrax Millennium, who's on Twitter at Zeltrax Millennium, I believe, Ryan Darkclaw643, who's my graphic designer and did the awesome title card art for the video, at Darkclaw643 on Twitter, and also check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Power Rangers news and interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, I hope it's better next year.